These guys are milking it because they're Islamophobes. They hate every Muslim, they hate Islam, and they use any opportunity to get to demonise Muslims.
Islam will be banned because Islam is utterly inside. And he is.
So as a consequence then, freedom of religion, freedom of speech is also banned, is that
There
true?
should be no freedom of religion for a religion like that.
Do Muslims in this area want to take over Britain?
No.
Do people in this area feel British?
Yes.
Are ISIS representative of Muslims?
101% no.
Make no odds about it, the war has begun. Look around you, we're already at war. So yes, if we go down the road in an armoured vehicle flying our flag, it's letting them know that enough is enough. They have taken enough from our country and we will be taking it back. The Muslim community.
But who are we at war with? Like I don't see anybody else going down the streets in an armoured vehicle.
No, you won't do, because you know what? It's the elite that will come out onto these streets and stand up for their country. You're looking at them.
No ISIS flags, we don't do them.
Tell me what Britain First is.
Britain First is a declaration of war on the corrupt, self-serving career politicians who have wrecked this country. That's what we're all about. We want to put our own people first and we want to take our country back.
This is where visitors from all over the world see.
Britain First describe themselves as a Christian political party. They were founded in 2011 by a man named Jim Dawson, a former call centre manager for the BNP. Dawson has a history with anti-abortion campaigns and loyalist groups in Northern Ireland, but he stepped down last year after disagreeing with the party's tactics and calling them unchristian.
And that's why Britain First exists.
It's currently run by this man, Paul Golding, also a former member of the BNP.
You are ex-BNP, is that true?
A long time ago, yes.
So is this like the new era BNP / EDL?
No, it's not. No, because the BNP was racist and the EDL was drunken hooligans. We have got a strict code of conduct, we're sensible, we're disciplined.
Britain First are the latest in far-right parties, and they try hard to distance themselves from other groups such as the BNP and the EDL. This message, though, doesn't seem to have been passed down to all its supporters.
EDL will go out and they'll fight. EDL are a racist group. Same with BNP.
Racist? How can you say we're racist?
Britain First aren't.
How can you say the EDL's racist though?
Because we are.
And now, have you got proof?
It's all over Twitter, mate.
We're not racist.
We all are.
Britain First had arranged this protest through their Facebook page, a page that has over 900,000 followers, more than any other political party in the UK, and even more than the Prime Minister.
Britain First is leagues ahead of any of the political movements in this country. We take a lot of our tactics and strategy from America, where again they're many, many years ahead of us.
They were in Rotherham protesting against the city's child grooming scandal, a scandal that saw 1,400 children exploited by mostly Asian gangs.
Come on, mate, come on.
The majority white Christian crowd were focusing on the fact that many of those convicted were Muslim.
There were 1,400 known cases of victims who were subjected to rape, torture. They were doused in petrol, all at the hands of Muslim grooming gangs.
Whose flag? Our flag! Whose flag? Our flag!
The group insists they're not racist. But on the other side of the city was a majority Asian counter-protest, organised by Unite Against Fascism.
It's nonsense. They don't have any interest about the girls. It's we, the people of Rotherham, who came out when the first J report bit. We came out and we demonstrated on behalf of the victims. These guys are milking it because they're Islamophobes. They hate every Muslim. They hate Islam, and they use any opportunity to get to demonise Muslims.
The J report detailed how girls as young as 11 were abused by men of predominantly Pakistani heritage here in Rotherham. And many in the Asian community here feel as though groups like Britain First are using the scandal to stir up hatred against Muslims.
a paedophile doesn't have a race or a religion. He's just a criminal to us. That's it. The point we're trying to make here is, if a paedophile is Asian or Muslim, we don't see him as that. We see him as a criminal. Whether it's white, black, pink, blue, we don't care. A groomer is a groomer. They should be off our streets, just like these Britain scum.
I think for them to use that as an excuse and to disrupt our businesses and lives in Rotherham, I think it's a poor excuse.
We're sick of them coming every day into Rotherham. Rotherham, we've lived here all our life. Yeah, it was a peaceful time. Over the last 2-3 years, with these EDL, BNP, whatever, coming every year, it's causing pockets of causing racism, everything which all communities have managed to get over years.
My grandfather served in World War II, and he was a war hero, fought against the Japanese in Burma. And I think this is disrespectful for him, for these people to carry the flag of union.
The deputy leader of Britain First, though, Jada Franson, says it's not just about religion.
There are bad people in all religions.
there
The
are.
Catholic Church itself has had huge child abuse scandals.
Yeah, of course.
And you're not protesting about them. So
No,
why
look,
specifically
Let me tell you,
Muslims?
as someone from a Catholic background, I would have every single Catholic priest who interfered with a child hanged, just as I would have these Muslim grooming gangs hanged publicly.
This was one of many protests arranged by Britain First.
The protest is about to begin. The flags are out, the music's on. We're standing next to a pub, which might not be a good idea. But I'd say there's probably about 300 people here.
No beer and nothing that, wearing or hats or anything that we don't like.
Some others have been more aggressive, featuring armoured Land Rovers and army uniforms. Most here had heard about this one online, through Facebook. And social media is where the group think they have their real power.
We put out a promo video for this demonstration today, and it was seen by 60,000 people in Rotherham alone. That's why a lot of them have turned out today. So we're just leagues ahead in terms of advanced social networking politics to all the other political movements in this country.
Facebook is their biggest platform, garnering thousands of comments and shares. Here, they're close to having the same amount of followers as the Conservative Party and Labour combined. And the group also have active YouTube and Twitter accounts, as well as their own blog, that they use to discuss stories in line with their thinking. Their posts range from calls to stop what they call the Islamisation of Britain, to patriotic clickbait that seems completely unrelated, leaving some to criticise the group for fooling people into liking them with misleading posts. One former Britain First member who wanted to remain anonymous told me the way Britain First use Facebook is more sinister than that, saying how the group use social media to spread their message is similar to ISIS, something Britain First say is ridiculous. But pages have been set up across the internet in a bid to counter what they say is anti-Muslim propaganda, and one admin of these pages agreed to speak to me anonymously.
We go out there and we try to put up on our pages, they have said this, but that is not true. This is the actual truth about it. If you search this image, this is the real news story. And then we post it on our pages and then it gets shared around the internet.
These groups have made it their mission to fight against Britain First. And they say this fight often comes with consequences.
It's one of those things, it's a kind of a quiet war going on, really. They post stuff, we propose rebuttals, and onwards.
So do you get threats yourself, personally?
Oh, all the time, through your others folder on Facebook. I don't even read it anymore. It's ridiculous.
Why did you decide to do this?
Because hate needs to be fought against. The page itself on Facebook is a closed echo chamber. There's no views are allowed on there apart from those that conform to their warped worldview.
Do you class what they're doing as propaganda?
Yes, I would class it the same as the police as domestic terrorism. The Photoshop images, there's Dawood Wallad in the USA, a civil rights campaigner.
Dawood Wallad is a veteran of the US military. And he says, after attending a protest last year against anti-Muslim hate in America, a false image of him was posted on the Britain First page.
So I was holding a sign called Boycott Bigotry. In the process of that picture being up online, actually in news stories here in America, Britain First took that picture and they photoshopped it to say boycott bigotry, and then they under that part it says and kill non-Muslims. So this is the first time I ever heard of Britain First.
I was unable to verify this image being on the page, but there were reports at the time saying the image was deleted soon after questions were raised about it. I contacted Britain First for a response, but they failed to reply. The posts on the Britain First page, though, aren't the only issue for their online opponents. Another problem is what they see as anti-Muslim comments by their followers.
I was on your Facebook page yesterday and there was a post about the Austrian migrant deaths.
Yeah.
And some of the top comments were celebrating the deaths. Is that really the type of people you want in the UK, celebrating the deaths of migrants?
Look, first of all, we cannot, we do have a moderation team, but we cannot be responsible for every comment that comes onto our page. As I expect you can understand, this is a public page, which means anybody across the entire world can comment on any post.
These hate comments are pretty easy to delete on Facebook. But they may be difficult for Britain First because there are just so many of them, being on nearly every single post. And they're all based around the idea that Muslims want to take over this country, something Britain First echo.
We don't want any more coming into this country. We don't want any more immigration.
Like this video, released by Britain First in June of this year in Bury Park, Luton, showing one individual they found on the streets who they identify as a Muslim who thinks he runs this country. The video has now been viewed over 11 million times, and it's had over 190,000 shares, with some of the comments calling for Muslims to be killed.
So this is Bury Park, which, according to Britain First, has been colonised by Muslims who essentially want to take over this country. It's a fairly uneventful place, considering that it's been the centre of not only Britain First demonstrations, but other groups like the EDL for many, many years.
Britain First and other groups have used Bury Park as an example of what they describe as the Islamisation of the UK for years, largely due to the area's big Muslim population and its association with radical Islam. And the city has had and still does have some issues with extremism. It was the birthplace of Al-Mujah Haroon, a banned extremist network, and has a history of radicals in the area. But does this really reflect the wider community here? I went to Luton Central Mosque, the biggest mosque in the area, and a place Britain First invaded last year, whilst on one of their so-called mosque invasions. One of the mosque's imams agreed to speak with me about extremism and Britain First.
I feel intimidated. I feel threatened.
Mr. Sharif is an imam who studied in Yemen and Syria, who says that the media are the reason behind Islam's bad image.
When has there ever been good news? There's always bad news. As soon as a simpleton, yeah, he switches on his TV, BBC News headlines, ITV News headlines, ISIS decapitates such and such person, suicide bombing in the name of Islam. We have a guy with a beard chanting Allahu Akbar, beheading people, bombing people, you know. So when they see that, that's their Islam for them.
In Bury Park, there have been cases of extremism. You know, Al-Mujah Haroon was based here. It's also a very segregated place where you have, you know, kind of Muslims in one area and white people in the rest. Do you think that integration has been a problem?
The white, they've moved out of Bury Park. They moved out in the first place, didn't they? Why is it just all Muslim? Why is it all Pakistani? Why are they all Indians? Why are they all Bengalis? Where have the white people gone?
I put some of Britain First's accusations to Mr. Sharif.
Do Muslims in this area want to take over Britain?
No.
Do people in this area feel British?
Yes.
Are ISIS representative of Muslims?
101% no.
Britain First want a world without Islam, and they see areas like Bury Park as the forefront of a war that has arrived. A war they think they're fighting.
You call yourself a warrior?
Warrior!
Warriors, it talks about warriors. It says on the Britain First Facebook page, it says you are warriors.
Yes.
Exactly, so that is a warrior.
Yeah.
It also says you're taking the country back. You said that we're in the process of a war. Exactly, but
Absolutely.
then so is that not slightly aggressive? Is that
No.
not?
No, because was Winston Churchill slightly aggressive?
No. Why is Winston Churchill?
Was he slightly aggressive? No, he took the fight to our enemies, which is exactly what we do.
The group want capital punishment and say they would hang their enemies.
We feel very strongly that if you don't respect and embrace the values of this country and the law of this country and the monarchy, then you don't deserve to be here. So we would also hang you for treason.
They say they're staunchly Christian and want the country to be run by Christian values, despite around 30% of the UK population having no religion, and that number growing fast.
A large proportion of Britain aren't even religious anymore, and a huge part of your organisation is Christianity.
You don't have to be religious to join our organisation.
But you keep referencing Christianity as
I'm a
part
Christian.
of it.
We've got every atheist. It doesn't
Could you
matter.
join if you were a Muslim?
Of course you can.
The group think they represent the whole of Britain and tried to legitimise themselves in November 2014, with Jada Franson running in a by-election and receiving only 56 votes, less than the monster raving Looney Party. It's safe to say they're not going to have real power anytime soon, but their Facebook page and street marches mean they do have some influence. And the impact that has is a worrying thing to many Muslims in the UK.
If you carry on saying that you don't believe in Islam, I don't know if you can remain in the family.
Anne-Marie Waters runs an organisation called Sharia Watch, opposing Sharia councils. She regularly criticises Islam.